About Underworld, people. All right. So let's talk about this franchise very quickly. Now, whether you want to admit it or not, this franchise has been a little bit sloppy, right? Let's just get this out the way. The first two, they were okay, a little bit mediocre, but they were still fun and entertaining. Had a cool mythos to kind of build this foundation on, and I thought that was actually pretty good. But after that, whether it be a prequel, a sequel, or whatever the fuck you really want to call Awakening, these movies kind of tend to plummet like the 2008 economy, and that's just a simple truth. And that's a sad thing to see. Now, this movie is not like Fast and the Furious, right? And it's not like Mission Impossible where they kind of get better by the fourth or the fifth one, breaking new grounds and everybody's critically praising them. And it's not like Resident Evil where it's very self-aware and it's kind of like over the top, whatever it may be. This is a very dark and brooding type of franchise with, vampires that look like models and a very bluish type of filter to it. And a franchise at this very point in time that tends to seem like they're going in circles and they're hitting a fucking wall. And that is the simple fucking truth. And this is the problem I have kind of with Blood Wars just to begin with. It's just that at this point in time, after watching this movie, this shit is just a movie that really has no place really to go. And that's just a simple case. Because for a while watching this film, you kind of are just like wondering where exactly is this going? Because I feel like I've seen this entire shit before. Like with the Lycans and the fucking, the vampires, we've seen this all before. And don't let the Blood Wars title kind of fool you. It's still the same shit that you've seen. We've seen the werewolves and we've seen the vampires go at it for this entire time. And there's nothing else really new here. Maybe a new title, maybe a new coat and a new, hair dye for Selene. But other than that, there's nothing really new here just to begin with. And that's a sad and unfortunate thing to do. Now, they had the Michael storyline they could possibly have done. But then again, they kind of shit the bed with that one, didn't they? And then they also had the Eve storyline, which is pretty much non-existent, even though they kind of bring her up with flashbacks. And that's just simple truth. Now, overall, this movie just seems like there's really nothing there. They leave plot points or certain things out there in the open for a possible and future film, or they throw something in there that makes no sense with the mythos that they already built upon. And then it's just like, well, where are they going with this? There are some cool things that they kind of throw inside this film, and I actually do enjoy some things to it. Unfortunately, I feel like there's a lot of times where this movie just feels like it's dragging, and then it picks up, and then it's just dragging again. The movie is so sloppy and has a quick and fucking messy pace to the point where there's so many things being thrown at you, you can't even fucking absorb any of it. It's like the worst case of dodgeball ever. They're just throwing shit at you and expect you to fucking, dodge it or either catch it, but it's just moving so fast at you to the point where nothing even really makes that much sense. Now, overall, Kate Beckinsale is the star of this movie. Now, is she good? Is she bad? Is she awful? Whatever it may be. Kate Beckinsale still manages to be the best part of this entire film, which is good. But then again, it doesn't matter really because it's easy to stand out when you're amongst a bunch of shit. And that's the simple truth. Now, overall, Kate Beckinsale does her job, and that's the problem. It seems like she's doing a job. She's doing a well enough point into the movie, but I feel like she's not really into it. And unlike Mila Jovovich, which you believe, and she gives her all, I feel like Kate Beckinsale is just kind of, not phoning it in, but she's just doing what she can, what comes natural to her biting ways. And that's the simple truth. Now, overall, you can pretty much just play, spot the Game of Thrones actor inside of this movie, and you'd be like, oh, I know that guy, whatever it may be. And that's kind of an interesting thing to see. But overall, the way I see it is this. The cast of this movie are a little bit of the problem. And that tends to be kind of like with this franchise just to begin with. It's just that whether it be the two leads or whatever it may be, they're great. And then everybody else is just kind of very flat. And that's the same thing in here. Everybody seems very over the top or too flat, whatever it may be. There's no life to any of their readings or whatever it may be. And everybody just seems flat. Theo James, coming over from Divergent, coming over to his other franchise, doesn't really impress. He doesn't really do anything, and then it's just like, whatever. They introduce some things, it doesn't even really matter for the most part. Now, overall, to me, I think the next big problem is just simply put the writing to the point where I just have to laugh with some of these writing shits in here. And I mean, the writing is just so bad. It's so abysmal. To the point where I can watch some shit on like a Saturday morning cartoon or Sesame Street, and that shit could look like it's Breaking Baptist compared to some of the shit that is actually in here. And that's how bad the writing actually is. There's some unintentional comedy into this shit, especially towards the end, to the point where I actually laugh. The action scenes are serviceable, but there are some action scenes where I'm just like, what the hell is going on here? This thing is a mess. I mean, legitimately. The movie moves very, very quickly. And I mean, if you are not either slightly focusing, but there's a point in time where you're just like, I don't even know what's going on, and you either want to fall asleep or do whatever. Now, Kate Beckinsale, like I said, she continues to be a trooper, and she continues to probably give guys hard-ons everywhere inside of the movie theaters. Believe me, there's probably some dude in the back of my theater that I was watching this shit in, and he's pretty much pulling a Nicholson from The Departed. That's how fucking hot Kate Beckinsale is. But then again, you can easily see her on Google Images, and that doesn't really excuse the film for being very, very shitty. Now, the movie just feels lifeless because there's essentially not really an interesting plot per se, and the stuff that is slightly interesting, we kind of been over already. So therefore, there's no intrigue to like really continue on to the next thing. They leave open the cliffhanger, and that's great. That's awesome. That's cool. But then again, that's for the next film. Like, I feel like they constantly keep on leaving shits up in the air for like a sequel or whatever it may be, and instead of worrying about the film that we have in our face right now, and therefore it leaves the movie very empty with nothing else to really do. Their characters are over the top. The writing is just shit all across the board. And then in that case, you get really nothing to really go about. The villain's nothing much. And therefore, like I said, you get some cool action scenes. You get some decent effects, whatever it may be. But there's really nothing interesting here and nothing fresh and new to this franchise. We've seen this all before. And then if that's the same case, what's the point of even watching this movie? I say there is no point. Just watch the best ones that you actually enjoy, and then you'll get your money's worth out of that. But overall, this movie does its job, I guess, for the most part. Just not very well. But it does its job, which is probably make enough money in a very shitty, movie season. And then that's all you can really say. Comment, subscribe, and like. Whether you enjoyed this review or not, I'm Chris Miller. I'm signing out.